When you spend time in the great outdoors, your perspective often changes. And that's certainly been true for Colorado nature photographer John Fielder. He's spent a lifetime capturing the beauty of the Rockies in thousands of remarkable photos. And along the way, he's learned from nature's timeless cycles of life, lessons he's now putting to use as a matter of necessity. Barry Peterson has his story.
The majesty of mountains, the whisper of winter, the rebirth of spring, captured by John Fielder's eyes and cameras. I first met John in 2015 at Rocky Mountain National Park for a story on CBS Sunday Morning.
Do you still come to a place like this and just take a deep breath and be a little bit in awe of all of this?
I never get tired of being in places like this. It's my medicine. I've been to the park 100 times in the last 40 years, and it gets better, actually, each time that I come here.
Years capturing Colorado in the wild.
40 years ago, all I wanted to do was one thing, and that is quit my department store job cold turkey, and with a wife, a child, and another one on the way, turn my passion, my hobby, photography, into a new career. And I pulled that off.
Sharing the wilderness with elk and foxes and one big ornery goat.
And then when I was about 18 inches away, the goat right here, he stood up on all fours as if he was going to butt me with his rack. And I, again, just kind of calmly backed up and stood still. And the goat went back down on all fours and just stared at me.
A goat who later pretty much posed right in front of his camera.
It culminated a day later in me actually communicating with the goat, with my hand on my head, laying down next to this goat 18 inches away, and asking the goat questions like, what's it like to be in the wilderness 24/7? What are girl goats like? And the funny thing is, I never got one answer, but he seemed to be enjoying the conversation.
The sound of your voice.
I think my voice was euphonic for whatever reason, and it calmed him when I was next to him.
His pictures drew thousands to the wilderness who sometimes damaged his beloved nature. But now he believes they will also help nature survive.
If you don't smell it, the smell of decaying aspen leaves in the fall, taste it, the taste of that cold, metallic, freshly melted snow water up high at 12,000 feet, if you don't listen to the hummingbirds in the meadow at 11,000 feet, you never really develop an appreciation for the sensuousness of nature and the fact that this is a 4.3 billion year process of evolution. And in our American democracy, that's why we protected more wilderness than any other country on the planet. And I want people to vote that way, and unless they care, they won't do it.
This is his memory lane, culling 200,000 negatives down to 7,000 of the best.
Good memories when you went through them?
Yes, this was my life happening all over again for the second time, going through 200,000 transparencies.
Hikes remembered, climbs remembered, screw-ups remembered, things coming at you remembered. It's all there.
It was all very humbling.
Now he faces a greater challenge than any
4 by 5 inch
he faced in nature.
I want to talk a minute about your cancer.
John has pancreatic cancer.
You have probably seen as much as any man of nature. Birth, life, death. I sometimes have the sense talking with you, John, that it informs the way that you are approaching death. It's part of life. Help me understand this.
My mind always tends to think scientifically, logically and deductively and analytically, trying to understand what's going on around me. Living in the moment sounds like a cliche, but living in the moment, living in the present is medicine for me, and it allows me to appreciate the past and the future, but by always being focused on what I've been given today, not yesterday or the day before.
What he's given today is for all of us. Those 7,000 photographs to be donated to History Colorado, where anyone can freely browse or download.
I never felt that I owned my photos. I felt that was kind of selfish, and how could anybody, kind of like white people thinking that they own a particular piece of real estate for generations to come, whereas Native Americans think they're just leaseholders, they're just there on a temporary basis. On that ridge of 12,000 feet.
When I visited John, we sat on his back patio facing the mountains.
Last night was probably the most sublime, most beautiful spring in Colorado moment I've ever seen, and it happened from my patio. And Barry, I give you full credit for the fact that you were going to come up the next day, and I wanted you to see what you were getting into and find out if you could handle the pressure of being in the most beautiful place on earth under the most beautiful condition of light, at least 24 hours after that.
I give you credit for not stopping and still photographing.
Thank you very much. There's always photos to be taken.
Couldn't resist, could you?
Never have been able to resist.
To which anyone who loves nature, who loves its beauty, who loves its changing seasons, can only say, thank you, John Fielder. For CBS Saturday Morning, Barry Peterson, Colorado.
And one really interesting thing that Barry tells us is John's hoping that his photographs can really be a benchmark for people as they move forward in looking at climate change. Because he's captured these years now, and people can see where we go from here and the impact that we're still having on the environment.
I'm just going to say thanks, John Fielder.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And
Amazing.
Barry looks so touched by that moment, as we all, I'm sure, if we look through those pictures, will
They're gorgeous.
be. Thank you, John.